Last night's vice presidential debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz was incredible. Not because it was an exciting edge-of-your-seat battle royale with a bunch of zingers, but in the sense that J.D. Vance put on a masterclass in how to debate. And the contrast between him and Tim Walz defending Kamala's communism couldn't have been greater. Just look at Tim Walz's face as J.D. Vance completely crushes him.
I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
Please, are you going to come off? Please, you can't allow him to keep spewing these facts. And when the moderators broke their own rules after initially claiming that they weren't going to be fact-checking either of the candidates after the disastrous fallout over the presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, when it was obvious that it was 3 against 1 and they only fact-checked and only pushed back against Donald Trump. Well, when they broke their rules, then J.D. Vance set them straight.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status. Right. Temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
we're going to turn out of the economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own leadership.
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so much we want to get to. Thank you for explaining the legal process.
We have so much we want to get to. We can't allow you to actually explain what's happening with the massive migrant invasion into America. And as you can imagine, the Operation Mockingbird assets weren't very happy that he just took command of the entire debate and fact-checked the fake fact-checkers.
Yeah. And I actually think if you're a woman, that might be the worst moment J.D. Vance had, because he was going to mansplain right over that mute button. He was, and again, I don't pretend to know how everyone will react to this. I think that a lot of women in positions of authority that should command respect just by virtue of that dynamic will see themselves in some dude that disrespected them and talked over, I mean, there was...
Imagine being so deranged that you think that J.D. Vance is sexist, that what he did was sexist because he dared to correct 2 female moderators when they were spewing nonsense and wouldn't allow them to just move on after they broke their own rules for the debate.
The audacity, is it someone should have said, stop it, stop. Are you effing kidding me? And they should have dropped that F-bomb, right? I mean, they should have just, this is a debate. This may be the only chance people have to see the difference.
They cut his mic, lady. You can't make a feminist happy no matter what. And did you see Richard Maddow nodding along that the moderators should have started swearing at Vance? Here's Vance taking down Tampon Tim after he tried to blame Donald Trump for the coronavirus pandemic and the disastrous effects on the economy.
If you notice, what Governor Walz just did is he said, first of all, Donald Trump has to listen to the experts. And then when he acknowledged that the experts screwed up, he said, well, Donald Trump didn't do nearly as good of a job as the statistics
that's a gross generalization.
That he did. So what Tim Walz is doing, and I honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here, because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you've simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens.
Ouch. Even the Clown News Network is having a hard time spinning the outcome of this debate.
I think there was a clear lack of preparation and execution here on Walz's part.
I think actually it's the opposite. I think he had too much preparation.
Maybe, yeah.
He had so many lines that he was clearly trying to say that he didn't listen and said when J.D. Vance said one of the many things he really hit Kamala Harris on, not Tim Walz, but Kamala Harris, he didn't respond because he clearly had things in his mind.
And then there are the memes. Here's the knucklehead and the chucklehead. Here's one from The Office. Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Of course, they're the same picture. Here's J.D. Vance dunking on Tampon Tim. Here's J.D. Vance's response to Tampon Tim trying to hit him for Donald Trump and others questioning the outcome of the 2020 presidential election and not claiming that there was nothing wrong, there was no funny business whatsoever. And then Vance cleverly pivoted to this.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship. Obviously, Donald Trump and I think that there were problems in 2020. We've talked about it. I'm happy to talk about it further. But you guys attack us for not believing in democracy. The most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris wants to use the power of government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship. Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about ideas, and then let's come together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Senator, the governor does have the floor.
Fire in a crowded theater. That is criticizing the policies of the government, which is the right of every American.
Wow. Pollster Frank Dunce, posted the results of his focus group, which had 14 people in it, saying that 12 after the debate, 12 were in favor of Vance and only 2 in favor of Tampon Tim. Would you like to express your disappointment in your party's VP pick, Raggedy Ann?
Tonight, I felt like he was spending a lot of time in the first half or 2/3 proving he read the briefing materials, and I was missing the magic and the organic spontaneity of Tim Walz.
Because this is the face that America saw straight out the gate as soon as the debate started. Clown News Network's post-debate poll shows that 51% favor J.D. Vance, 49% favored Tampon Tim. So you know that it was actually, in reality, a landslide for Vance.
The 2 issues driving the campaign right now are Harris has a big deficit on the economy, Harris has a big deficit on immigration, and Republicans were happy tonight and Democrats a little bit nervous that on those 2 issues, Vance carried it.
You mean the 2 biggest issues of the 2024 election? And in case you missed it, I got some great new shirts over at markdice.com, like the Trump as Neo in the Matrix shirt, the War is a Racket shirt, which is a famous quote from Smedley Butler, and everybody's new favorite, the Cat Lives Matter shirt. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat.